Hello and welcome to another edition of Mailbag. What is Mailbag? Well, Mailbag is a feature of the channel where you guys leave lots of comments on the channel and I attempt to answer those comments, or if I can't answer those comments, I throw it out to you guys who have more knowledge on some of this stuff than I do. So let's get into the first mailbag of this session. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. Next comment or question comes from Zarel is official. Well, you weren't official. And this is in response to the Roland S-50 Restoration Part 1, What to Do Next video I did in April 2022. And Zarel writes, quick question. I have the opportunity to buy a cheap Roland S-50 for 150 quid. However, the seller mentioned there is zero audio coming out of the main outputs or the headphones. Is this a potential money pit if I decide to buy it and maybe have someone repair it? Possibly me. I'm based in Hertfordshire, so that's just north of London for those who don't live in the UK. Well, there is always a caveat when you go into, is it going to cost you a lot of money? And funny enough, recently I've done an SMR about you bought it, so stop whinging about the price, the cost of repairs. Anyway, there is a caveat and there is a short with a short answer. So it could be something very, very simple. It could be an op amp in the application circuit to the signal generator that is fried. That could be something. But when you buy a legacy synthesizer of any description, there is also always a risk that something is going to go wrong. I borrowed a Juno 106 from Richard, not last year, so I could play with it, and it was fab. Apart from the fact that I fired it up and Richard said everything was fine, and when I fired it up, voice 6 was acting up. Now, was that because we transited it from Richard's house to my house? Don't know. Was it always there and it just kind of escaped notice? Don't know. But then I had to kind of report back to Richard that voice 6 was acting up. And I don't know. It's one of those things with legacy. It could be just as simple as the voice 6 is not seated properly. But I wasn't going to go in to Richard's synthesizer and take it to pieces and do any exploratory work because it's Richard's synthesizer. At the end of the day, it was just kind of saying there is a problem with it, which I felt a bit bad for, if I'm brutally honest. Anyway, I think 150 quid is a little high for a non-working Roland S-50, if I'm brutally honest. And this is one of those things that kind of annoys me in the market space that we currently live in that people are not willing to part with things at reasonable cost when it's not working. And guys, if you list something on eBay because you think you're going to get around the eBay algorithm and policy by listing something as not working, and then try to charge a premium price for it, you know what? Go, because you're charging the premium price, listing it as non-working and thinking you're going to get away with that. eBay have seen through that. I just warn you now, right? And I've had a claim in the last year on exactly that issue where I bought something that was listed as non-working for an amount of money, and the issue that was described was not the issue with the keyboard. Okay, so I went back to the seller and said, you've sold me something, you've lied, basically, because what you told me was wrong with it is not what's wrong with it at all. So I went through the eBay process and eBay came down on my site. So just let you know The whole it's not working and charging a premium price for it does not work with eBay anymore. Anyway, the other side of this is if you have to get somebody to have a look at it, and if it is something simple, you know, it could be just a couple of hours work, but you're still going to expect to pay your keyboard technician £50 an hour, because why would they do the work for less? They've got to earn a living, and you know, £50 an hour is reasonable. And in fact, I think that's actually more than reasonable. You know, I'd expect a keyboard tech to be charging £60, £70 an hour, if I'm brutally honest, but that's just me. Other people I know, you know, whinge at the fact they're paying £50 an hour, but you bought it. It's gone wrong. How else are you going to get it repaired? Now, the other side of this is if it switches on and there is a display, then you know what? You know, I said I would take it off the guy's hands if he didn't want it, because you know I kind of want a second S50 for various reasons. So you know, if somebody has got an S50 that's in less than rude health and wants to get rid of it, please get in contact with me. DM me through the channel, through the comments, and I'll get in touch. Next comment or question comes from MCal27, and this was in response to Muse Receptor, 8 top tips for cloning the Muse Receptor. And MCal writes, the round keyboard connector is called a PS2, not a PCI. Oops. PCI is an internal card expansion format. Read drive cloning, use Clonzilla. It does a bit for bit clone, so the destination will be totally identical to the source. I was going to say iconic to the source. I'll be honest and say that actually MCal read the 8 top tips before seeing some of the other videos. Anyway, I know it's a PS2 connector, not a PCI connector, but when you do videos, quite often something pops into your head and you say it, and then you only pick it up in post and you sort of kind of think, do I let it go? Because I'm not going to go back and record that bit, because maybe the thing's not in pieces anymore. Sometimes I put something that flashes up at the bottom of the video, but that's yeah, if I remember to do it. Don't do it very often, but I do have the occasional blooper. In terms of Clonezilla, that was actually the product I used in the end to create the new discs for the Receptor, and I also used it to expand the partitions from 250 gig to 1 terabyte on the replacement drives, just to give me more space when I start moving into that platform seriously.